Question for you. If your subject is in the corner of your frame, would you shoot your lens wide open to get the optimum sharpness? Hold that thought. In today's video, I can potentially save you between $1,500 and $4,500 on a lens which will give you similar results depending on how you shoot. Let me explain. Hello, welcome. Matt here from MrLeica.com. If you've seen this channel before, we normally talk about Leica equipment. If you love the idea of using a Leica Summicron lens or a lens which will give you the same look as a Leica lens, this video might just be for you. Today's video is going to cover 6 different lenses. The Leica Summicron-SL lenses. There were 2 APO versions, one in 35mm, one in 50mm. They then recently released 2 economy versions, one in 35mm, one in 50mm. And then there's 2 third-party lenses, which some may say are identical, one in 35mm, one in 50mm. So 6 lenses in total. Let's get into the details and I'll explain what I'm talking about. So if you use cameras and lenses from the L-mount alliance, those are made by Panasonic, Sigma and Leica. You may be aware of the 2 brand new lenses that were released at the end of February 2023. The Leica Summicron-SL 50mm f2 spherical and the Leica Summicron 35mm f2 spherical. Now, some people are asking questions in terms of how are they different from the existing lenses, because there are already Leica SL Summicron lenses, the APO 35 and the APO 50, and the timing of the brand new Leica lenses just so happened to be almost exactly the same time that I was going to review a much more affordable lens from Panasonic Lumix. Now, for those of you that love geeking out on the various Leica forums, there was quite a lot of chat that actually these new Leica lenses were in fact the same Panasonic lenses which were already released and at a much more expensive price. So in today's video we're going to cover, are these new Leica lenses actually the same as the existing Lumix lenses, how these new Leica lenses compare to the existing Leica APO lenses, and of these 6 lenses, which lens might be best for you depending on your budget and depending on how you shoot. Let's get into some details. If you're a long-term Leica SL user, one of the common complaints of the SL system is the lenses are too big and too heavy. The great news is these 2 new lenses from Leica are roughly half the weight of the existing APO lenses, yet give you many of the similar benefits. On top of that, the lenses are around $3,000 cheaper than the existing APO lenses. So that is some serious cash, and it may make the difference between not being able to get the lens and being able to now finally get your 35mm lens or 50mm lens for your SL system. Now what I want to concentrate on first is the difference between the existing Lumix lenses and the brand new Leica lenses. So let's pull up some stats and you might be surprised at quite how similar these pairs of lenses are. So if we look at the 35mm lenses first, so as you can see, both lenses have the same optical formula of 11 elements in 9 groups. Both lenses have the 67mm filter thread and both lenses have the astonishing close focus distance of 0.24 meters. Stay with me on that because I'll show you some example photos. Both lenses are like an L mount. Both lenses give you autofocus, but neither lens gives you built-in image stabilization. In terms of size, the dimensions are almost identical, but the weight is different. This is because the Leica lens has a metal barrel and the Lumix lens has a plastic barrel. So the difference in weight is 295 grams for the Lumix, 400 grams for the Leica. Both lenses have the weather sealing or the dust seal. However, the Lumix gives you the autofocus, manual focus on-off switch. The Leica design doesn't. The Lumix lens has a plastic lens hood, but the Leica lens has a metal lens hood. However, the Lumix lens hood will fit your Leica lens if you happen to want a slightly lighter setup. As you can hopefully see, on paper these lenses look extremely similar and there could be a good chance that it's the same lens with a different badge on it, but I'll cover that in more detail in just a second. Now I have actually used the brand new Leica Summicron 35mm lens because I was teaching in Spain a couple of days ago. I took the opportunity to test the lens so I could share the results with you guys. Here are some example photos shot with the brand new Leica Summicron 35 f2 SL spherical. To give you a break from my usual model pictures, here is some non-model photos. So I was up early one morning looking around the coast in Torrevieja in Spain, close to where I was staying, and just testing the lens for colours, and I was really happy with the look of the photos. As you can see, these are Leica SL raw photos only, and this is me seeing how close I can get with this lens It is so much fun when you can get this close to your subject, and it helps make the most boring of subjects suddenly quite artistic, if you want to call it that. I went out again in the evening to test the lens, shooting directly into the sun and to see what the sunset colours look like. And these are some examples. Again, really happy and no complaints. The next day I also did some more geeky testing. This was me doing some sun-star testing, shooting through the leaves. And then this is, again, product photos, testing the lens, shot wide open, as close as it will go, to use the photos for videos like this. Look out for this camera in a future video. Here is a bokeh test shot as a Leica SL video. Excuse the shake, I didn't have a heavyweight tripod with me. So those are the 35mm lenses. What about the 50mm lenses? Let's take a closer look. So again, on the left, the Lumix, on the right, the Leica. Both lenses have the same optical formula of 9 elements in 8 groups. Both lenses have the same dimensions, or almost the same dimensions, and have the same 67mm filter thread. Both lenses give you the same close focus distance of 0.45 meters. Again, both give you autofocus, neither give you image stabilization. The Lumix is plastic, the Leica is metal. And again, there's no on-off autofocus switch on the Leica version. In terms of weight, the Lumix weighs 300 grams, the Leica 402 grams. And again, both lenses are weather sealed, dust sealed. So those are the two 50mm lenses. Again, the lenses look extremely similar. And so some may argue perhaps it is the same lens with a different badge on it. Now, I actually own the Lumix 50mm f1.8, and I've owned this lens since around last summer, and I've been meaning to do a video ever since. So let's now look at some real life photos shot with the Lumix, where I've been using it both during my workshops, and also I did a bit of geeky testing to show you some non-portrait photos as well. Okay, first some colour photo tests from Spain, catching the sunset, or what sunset we had. And again, product photos, this time raw only, so you can get an idea of the colours, the bokeh, and how things look. Again, I did a bokeh test using the Leica SL video, and as you can hopefully see, the round bokeh balls at pretty much every f-stop are really pleasing, and it gives a really nice subject background separation. More product photos, look out for the Makina 6.7 video in the future. I still need to develop the film, but a lot of fun testing that camera. And now this is me teaching in London and using the lens for like real client work, if you want to call it that. I use a mist filter for pretty much all photos because I shoot into the light, and that gives me that rim light and kind of reduced contrast in some images. All these photos are shot wide open at 1.8 on the Leica SL. Then I just added my Mr. Leica black and white preset to all photos, and that's what I sent to the models. If you want my presets, I'll put a link below the video. Being typical UK weather, it then started to rain, so we had to find somewhere inside the shelter. The red arrow you just saw was me showing that the mist filter is attached to the lens, so all these photos are shot with the mist filter. As you can see, I'm using one small LED light panel, and my biggest recommendation for anybody trying to improve their portraiture is perhaps spend a little bit less money on a lens and spend more money on lighting and hiring models. That's the fastest way to improve your portfolio. So in this instance, the Lumix lens is more than good enough, because if you're shooting it wide open, you don't need anything any sharper for shooting portraits. All these, as I say, are shot wide open at 1.8. Now, as I'm just an average guy with no connection to Leica, I don't own all 6 of the lenses that I'm talking about, but I can show you the 35mm Leica lens next to my 50mm Lumix lens. As I say, the dimensions are almost identical, and the Leica lens is the one that I borrowed during the workshop that I was teaching. So if we now summarize, you can get amazing photos from either the Lumix lens or the Leica lens. So that then begs the question, which lens is best for you? If you don't mind, say 95% of the image quality, or say you shoot in the center, I would get the Lumix lenses. If you want the Leica badge and you prefer the metal housing, which I totally would get if you're a proud Leica user, then get the new Leica lenses. If you have to shoot wide open all the time, let's say you only shoot at f2 because you live somewhere dark, let's say, then the APO lenses give you the ultimate performance. So if you need the best of the best, you're going to have to pay the huge price tag, and then you can get APO lenses. It's probably worth noting the price differences. So let's look at 35mm first. You can get the Lumix 35mm lens for $600, or you could pay an extra $1,500 and pay $2,200 to get the new Leica spherical lens, or you could pay an additional $3,000 and get the APO lens, which costs $5,200. If you're happy with 50mm lenses, the 50mm Lumix is cheaper than the 35mm Lumix, starting at $350. And again, you could then pay $1,500 extra to get the spherical version, which is $1,900. Or you could pay an additional $3,000 on top of that and get the APO, which is $5,100. If you don't mind using used equipment, you can save a huge amount of money by buying your lenses used. I bought my Lumix lens used for under £300. I call it my plastic fantastic lens, but it still delivers the images that I need on the Leica SL, but also on the small APS-C Leica CL. So here are some example photos using the 50mm 1.8 during my workshop on the crop sensor Leica CL. All of these photos are shot to wide open at 1.8, and you can get some really nice subject background separation and yet sufficient sharpness with the lens shot wide open, especially for portraits. I'll probably use a mist filter on these, so that gives you an idea of how sharp it could be with the mist filter removed. If you love the idea of affordable lenses for your Leica SL cameras, click to the blog link below, and that includes full res sample photos as well, if you want to do some pixel peeping and zoom in on some of the photos shared in this video. Hopefully this video answered some of your questions about, is the Lumix lens similar or different to the Leica lens? Hopefully the pictures I shared in this video will give you a flavour of what these lenses can do. But if you want to see the ultimate geek test between the APO, the spherical and the Lumix lenses, check out this video link below from the guys at the Red Dot forum. They did the geeky side-by-side testing to show you the exact differences between these three lenses in the 35mm and 50mm focal length. And I want to say special thanks to my patron Hide, who is the guy who came over and met me in Spain, who lent me the Leica 35mm lens that allowed me to make this video. Big thanks. And he also lent me some other cameras and lenses, so feel free to subscribe if you want to see those coming very soon. Thanks for watching, and see you all hopefully in the next video.